I actually built this piece myself.
You did?
Uh-huh.
This is nice.
Thanks. It's just kind of a pine basic piece, biscuit joiner around the edges and things like that.
Very nice. So you're a woodworker?
Well, I'd like to be. I used to have access to a wood shop in the city, but I don't have that anymore. I do have a one-car garage that I'd really like to make into a wood shop, but that process is going slow.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's take a look at that garage. Maybe we can do something for you.
Great. So the garage is right over here, Tom.
All right. Well, I also see that you have an elevated train right here.
Yeah, this is the Chicago L. It's the brown line. I take it to work every day.
Well, that's handy. So here's your garage. Nice little garage. Could be a good workshop. I see you have a workbench and your table saw sitting up on top of that. That's a little high, so when you're cutting, all the sawdust will blow in your face and your eyes. I like to have the table saw down low, at least flush with the workbench. That way you can extend the workbench size by using the table saw. And also an outfeed table. Now, in a small space like this, you also want to think about ventilation. You're not always going to want to have that door open, I would imagine, in the wintertime. So if you're making a lot of sawdust or if you're finishing, you got to think about the fumes. So I think we can think about a ventilation in front of that window.
Okay.
All right, and then we got to think about portability. I would imagine you want to have the things move out of the way. In the winter, when you get some snow, you might want to park a car in there.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah. All right. I see you've got some power in here, so that's good. You've got some hand tools. But I've got some ideas to make this a really good workshop.
Great, I'd love to hear them.
All right. All right, now we solved your table saw problem, and that was simple. All we needed to do is buy a stand at the home center and mount it to the saw. Now that sets the table saw at about 33 inches, which is a nice working height for a workbench.
Okay.
Now the other thing we have to deal with is your workbench. It's a little bit too high.
Yeah.
We want it to be a little bit lower than the table saw, but we also want it to go out of the way. So what I did is I made a bench that will mount to the wall. The legs drop down, and I have a couple of hinges on the back, and we'll mount that to the wall. So when you swing this up, the legs will swing in, and it will hold the bench out of the way.
Nice.
Now the bench is set at the right height, just a little bit lower than the table saw, so you can also use it as an outfeed table. When you push some long material through, the table will catch it. And if it's real long, you can open that door and push it right outside. All right, now all we need to do is mount the frame to the wall. All right, Stephanie, drive a screw right in there. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so now when we drop it down, the legs will swing out, supporting the outside edge. If you want to grab that piece of 3/4 inch birch, it's 2 feet by 4 feet, and place it on here. And I want to make sure we have plenty of overhang so you can use it as a clamp base also. Once we screw this down, we'll rip another piece to infill the back. All right, so now if you want to drive a screw in there, now you notice I used a countersink bit because I want the screw head to be below the surface. That way if you're working on the top with a saw or a chisel, you don't hit the screw head.
Okay, okay.
All right, so drive that home. Nice. All right, let's drill one down this side. This gate latch will hold the table up and out of the way when you don't want to use it. Okay, so now you had this pegboard standing up with some brackets on it. I think if we take the pegboard and hang it horizontally, like this, you'll be able to hang a lot more things on it.
Sounds great.
Okay, I think that's a good height, just about 4 feet off the floor. Let's get a screw in there.
All right, pegboard's done.
Looks good. All right, now we talked about ventilation. Let me show you what I did here. I mounted a 2x4 on the window casing, put a couple of hooks in it. I drilled a couple holes in the top of your fan to line up with the hooks. Now I'll just take it, line up the hole with the hooks, and put it in place. Just drop the fan down, unlock the window and open it. Turn the fan on. There you go. All right, so you have your table saw to do all your ripping of wide pieces and narrow pieces. But you need a saw to make all your cross cuts.
Okay, yeah.
This is actually a compound miter saw.
Oh, wow.
Cuts angles a different direction. The nice thing about this saw, it's a sliding compound saw. Now, a lot of the saws have these tubes that set the saw away from the wall more. But this hinge system allows you to keep the saw tight to the wall, giving you more floor space out here.
That's really cool.
It's also sitting on this table right here. The table has extensions that you slide out, so when you cut something, that excess piece doesn't fall on the ground.
Perfect.
It's on a stand that's mobile, but it also folds up to get out of the way. When that snowstorm comes, you need to get the car in the garage.
That sounds great.
So now that we know where all your tools are going, we can lay some interlocking foam pads on the floor to make it easier and softer to work on. All right, Stephanie, your shop is really coming together well.
I know, it looks great.
So what I did is I brought a few more things that I think you would really need at a nice size shop like this.
All right.
I brought a little plunge router that you can change the attachment and make it a trim router.
Nice.
I bought a portable hand planer to do that fine tuning of your edges or even thinning up a small board.
All right.
A palm sander you need to really get that finish down and nice and smooth so when you stain or finish your board.
Way better than hand sanding.
Right. I brought 2 drill drivers. The reason I do that is one for drilling holes so you don't have to change the bit, and the other for screwing in a screw.
So it saves a lot of time.
Exactly. Now the batteries for these will actually fit in this little portable jigsaw, which will cut all those curves.
Perfect.
Now I know how you like to use a biscuit joiner, but to speed up the process sometime and when you don't want to use the biscuits, you can use this right here. This is actually a pocket hole jig. It holds the wood into position. Push it in there, you clamp it down. You drill a hole with this special drill bit.
Okay.
And it will cut a slot in the board just right to set the screw in.
Oh, nice.
So now when you want to put that joint together, you just take the 2 boards like this, and you clamp it right at the joint, making it nice and firm so it won't go anywhere. Make it tight, clamp it down, and drive the screw in. All right, you screw it together and you have a nice tight joint.
Super strong.
Super strong. All right, well, I think you're all set in your new shop.
Well, thanks so much for coming to Chicago and helping me out. I can't wait to get started on my next project.
Well, I hope you send me a picture of that next project.
Definitely. Thanks so much, Tom.
My pleasure.